All right, guys, it is week 9. My record right now, 79 and 44. Had a pretty solid week. Went 12 and 4. Um, had some games where I was going back and forth on, but as always, I'm facts over feelings on this channel. So, I stand on my word, and I'll just go from there. But hopefully, I can keep it up. This is probably the best start to a pick'em that I've had so far this season. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this week goes, man. But let's dive into the matchups. Why not? Let's start with Thursday night football on Halloween. Interesting one here. Kind of. I mean, we got the Houston Texans traveling to MetLife Stadium to play the New York Jets. So another New York team in prime time. I'm not sure how to feel about this one. But I mean, it is what it is. But anyway, let's dive into the Texans. So they come off a narrow 23-20 win over the Indianapolis Colts in Week 8. Their defense had 5 sacks. And, Anthony Richardson, he subbed out because he was tired, apparently. And, Joe Mixon, we missed you, man. But he had some timely plays. And Houston's been grinding out some close wins. And their run game and defense have kept them afloat big time. I mean, CJ Stroud hasn't had the greatest year, but on the other side, I mean, the Jets, they're just a total mess, man. I mean, Greg Zuerlein, he missed a field goal and an extra point, which cost them the game, and they lost 25-22 to their division rival, the New England Patriots. The Jets' offense has just been very, very bad. Their defense has not been as dominant as last year. Just really, really bad, uncomplimentary, football from the New York Jets. But Stephon Diggs, he's out with a torn ACL this year, so a big loss for him. And Nico Collins is still out, so Tank Dell is going to have to step up. The Texans are going to have to struggle. They're going to have to just get through this struggle. They're going to struggle offensively, but I think overall they're just more stable than the New York Jets. I'm going to go with the Texans to get a grinded out road game here. And give me the Texans in this one to pull off a Thursday night win. Moving to the Sunday slate, we got a pretty boring matchup here. We got the New Orleans Saints taking on the Carolina Panthers. So the Panthers just got absolutely stomped by the Broncos, 28-14. Bryce Young showed at least some promise, especially for one drive, but he did throw 2 more picks, and their defense just got shredded by Bo Nix. Then we look at the Saints. I mean, they've lost their 5th straight. They lost 28-6 to the Los Angeles Chargers. Spencer Rattler, he struggled big time. That offensive line didn't do him any favors. They also gave up 5 sacks. The Saints are just reeling, man. And both quarterbacks are underperforming here, so I just think they're going to struggle to score points. The Panthers, I mean, yeah, they have they have a lot of flaws. They're known as the worst team in the league, but they have showed some improvement, and especially Bryce Young showed a little bit of promise, I guess. I think they'll have a shot here to take down New Orleans. The New Orleans has just a completely disjointed offense right now. So I think this is the best opportunity for the Panthers to snag another win, and I'm going to say that they do it here. And plus, it's another situation when in doubt, go home team. Give me the Panthers in this one. I'm going to pick them to win a sloppy game as the Saints spiral just continues to unravel. Next up, we got another divisional matchup here. We got the Washington Commanders taking on the New York Giants in MetLife. So Washington, what a win for them. I actually watched that Hail Mary live. Glad I turned it on. I mean, Jaden Daniels threw it up, and it just got tipped. I mean, that was just an insane. That was crazy. I mean, their red zone struggles. They gave up. Look, they racked up completely 5 yards, or 500 yards, I should say, against on offense. Their red zone struggles. I mean, they kept the Bears in the game, and ultimately they almost won the game. But they had a chance to put Chicago away a few times. And Caleb Williams didn't have the greatest game in the world, so their defense did hold him a little bit in check. But yeah, it was just a struggle for them to get in the end zone. But then we look at the Giants, man. They suffered a 26-18 loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Daniel Jones, he had 2 turnovers, had a fumble as well. Late game mistakes just continue to hurt him and just the team in general. Tyrone Tracy Jr., he played well, but I think he left with a concussion later in that game. The Giants' offense is going to be even more limited than they normally are. I think Washington, they come off an emotional win, and they go into MetLife, and they just capitalize on a team that just lacks discipline in the New York Giants. I'm going to take the Washington Commanders to just keep it rolling, and they win pretty comfortably. It's a divisional rival game. They did beat the Giants back in week 2, I believe it was. So I think Jaden Daniels, he has a much, I guess you want to call it a bounce back. I guess he just puts up a comfortable, outing here. So give me Washington to go into a MetLife and steal an upset. I guess not an upset, but you know what I mean. Next up, we got the Buffalo Bills taking on the Miami Dolphins. So let's look at the Dolphins, man. So they first of all they fell 28-27 to the Cardinals, yes, but Tua had a solid return. Miami has struggled in big games. Their defense just continues to be a liability. So that's just not. I don't know. I mean, I think the Dolphins just seem a little bit, you know, unraveling as well, especially on the defensive side. And then we look at the Bills. I mean, they steamrolls the Seahawks 31-10. Josh Allen, he threw 2 touchdowns. James Cook, he dominated on the ground. He had 2 scores as well. Buffalo has won 4 games by over 20 points, which is just crazy. And they're just showing that they're a complete AFC team as a whole. And they can only add to it. Hopefully they do with the trade deadline for them. But Allen in form, I think that they should be able to control this game at home. And I'm going to say the Bills get closer, they move even closer to clinching the AFC East, honestly. I just don't see a team that can really slow them down right now in that division. If there was a team I had to pick, it'd be Miami, but I just don't think Miami's all that good right now. So I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills to pull off a win against the Dolphins. Interesting one here. We got the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland's third straight home game. So the Browns, they pulled off a shocking 29-24 win over the Baltimore Ravens. Jameis Winston, he threw for over 330 yards. Cleveland's offense looked more alive than they ever did under Deshaun Watson. The Chargers, they completely cruised past the Saints here, 28-6. Their defense led the way. They haven't really allowed, they haven't allowed more than 250 passing yards in any game this season. So it's going to be a tough challenge for Winston here. But I think Winston, his gunslinging nature, I think Cleveland they have a good chance to win. And honestly, I think that, that defense, the Browns defense has not been very good this year. But I think the Chargers have a vulnerable offensive line, and I think that could really harbor Justin Herbert's ability in the pocket. And I just don't know. It's an interesting matchup here, honestly, because it's not about the records. I mean, obviously, record-wise, the Chargers are a better team, but it's like the Chargers have a lot of vulnerabilities as well. It's not that they're any perfect. I mean, they started 3-0. They lost 3 straight. They won last week, yes, but that was to an unraveling Saints team. So you know what, guys? This is actually my upset of the week. I'm going to pick the Cleveland Browns to actually win in an upset, and Winston just going to continue to gunsling. And I hate to say it, but I honestly think Cleveland just takes care of LA in this one. The Chargers, they seem a little bit, yes, Jim Harbaugh's having a good season, especially on defensive side of the ball, but I don't know. I feel like the Chargers, this is a game that the Browns definitely can win, and especially on pure talent alone, I think that they definitely have a chance here. So I'm actually going to roll with Cleveland to pull off an upset win over the Chargers. Give me the Browns. Next up, we got an interesting one, kind of. We got the New England Patriots taking on the Tennessee Titans. So let's look at the Patriots, man. They got a win over their division rival, yes, but, the Jets are just a complete mess. I just don't know where they go from here. But anyway, speaking to the Patriots, what a win for them. Especially against a rival, but it's like, was it really all that impressive? You could say it was. I'm not going to say that, beating your division rival is always impressive, don't get me wrong, but, I guess one positive for them is, I don't know what happened. I think Drake May left with a injury or something. I'm trying to remember who stepped in for him. I'm like blanking out right now, but yeah, I forget who started in for them, but the Patriots, they proved that they were less dysfunctional than they were pretty much all season. But again, it is the Jets. I'm not gonna harbor too much on the Jets. I will say their defense, if I want to give them some sort of credit, they did, Drake May, first of all, he had a 17-yard run. I'll give him a lot of credit, there, but they held Aaron Rodgers, I guess, to 230 passing yards, I believe. And then I think it was Jacoby. Yeah, you know what? I just remembered. I don't know why I forgot this because he started against us. Jacoby Brissett, he came in there. He had a decent game. He threw over 130 yards, I believe. The running game couldn't really get it going. This is just honestly, this is weird. This is kind of a weird matchup. Probably, if I had to pick, this would probably be my toilet bowl. Um, I mean, and then you look at the Titans. Obviously, they had the most just embarrassing performance ever. They got completely. I think it was 52-14. They fell to the Lions. Mason Rudolph. I mean, he looked okay to start, but he threw two bad interceptions, and then Jared Goff didn't even need to have the greatest game in the world. I mean, Jameer Gibbs, he went off. David Montgomery. I mean, he had a few carries here and there, but he didn't really have a breakout. But yeah, honestly, guys, this is just a weird matchup to pick because the Titans are at home here. Um, so you'd think I'd go with the Titans. I mean, they're the home team here, especially in a matchup like this. No, I'm actually gonna go with the New England Patriots here. I think that they could get their first winning streak of the season. I don't know how Jacoby Brissett's gonna do, but the Titans just look very, very bad right now. And honestly, I'm just gonna say that they go into Tennessee and just pull off a win. I don't know why. I just completely blanked out on this one, but um, yeah, it is what it is. I think the Patriots should just pull it off here. Next up, we got the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Atlanta Falcons. So let's look at the Cowboys, man. They, I mean, they looked okay, in the first three quarters, I guess, against the San Francisco 49ers. They played on Sunday Night Football. But, in the end, I mean, they won. Obviously, they lost 30-24, yes, but I mean, they scored a garbage time touchdown, late in the fourth quarter. Dak Prescott didn't really have a great game. I mean, he did look like I will say though. I mean, the Cowboys had 292 total yards. He had an okay game. He had 36 yards passing, but just those two picks that just cost him in the end. Ezekiel Elliott didn't have the greatest game. I mean, he had like 30 yards. And then they also gave up, 260 to Brock Purdy. Gwen Guerrero. I don't know why I can't pronounce today, guys, but 85 yards on the ground. Brock Purdy also was rushing pretty well. So you look at them as like kind of like, yeah, I mean they did hold the running game, I guess, kind of in check. I mean, Guerrero still had a touchdown, but on the receiving end on National Tight Ends Day, George Kittle just completely just mossed him. He had a touchdown. Deebo Samuel also had, four catches for 70 yards. So it was just their defense just had trouble containing the 49ers, predictably so. But CeeDee Lamb had a great game too. He had over 140 yards. So I mean, their offense is kind of clicking, if you want to say that. But I don't know. I don't think many people are too high on the Cowboys. I just think that they have benefited from, like, I guess the teams that they've played, and it's just one of those situations where it's tough. It's tough to call them legit right now. But then we look at the Falcons. I mean, they're coming off a win over the Tampa Bay Bucs. Kirk Cousins, he threw for 4 touchdowns, 276 yards. Bijan Robinson had a decent game. Kyle Pitts had a good game. And then they held Baker Mayfield. I mean, not held him, but they got the first two picks on him. He threw for 330, yes, but Bucky Irvin didn't have a great game. Rashad White, so I thought that they did a good job of kind of holding them in check. But honestly, guys, this just comes down to who I trust more. And the way Kirk Cousins is playing, I see no reason to trust him. He's playing better than Dak is right now. I'm gonna roll with the Falcons here, to be honest with you. I just think that they come out this game and they're the home team. I think they just come out and beat the Cowboys in this one. So I'm actually gonna just roll with the Falcons. And we got my game. We got the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Cincinnati Bengals at Paycor Stadium for the second straight week. The Bengals will be back home, and they're looking for their first home win of the season. So we look at the Raiders. They were competitive against the Kansas City Chiefs, but they fell 27-20. Gardner Minshew, he made some tough, mistakes. But the Raiders, I mean, they did show some fight. I mean, now let's look at the Bengals. I mean, they are coming off just a humiliating 37-17 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles at home in the whiteout. I call it a whiteout wipeout. Zach Taylor had a horrible decision to go for it on 4th and 1, and the Bengals morale just completely died after that. That just started their collapse. I mean, Joe Burrow, he threw a tipped interception in double coverage. Mike Gesicki fumbled when I believe it was 34-17. So that just kind of, that was just game, set, match right there. And the Bengals, they totaled 106 yards in the second half, which is just an abomination if I'm Cincinnati. That is just unbelievably bad. So this team has just been abysmal, especially in the second half of games. Their coaching staff just continues to make questionable calls, and they're sitting at 3-5 on the season. They're running out of excuses, and they're not going to make a move in this trade deadline, which is just ridiculous. This game against the Raiders, you could call it a must-win all you want, but this team just doesn't have the urgency. I was wrong. That game against the Eagles, and I don't like to harp on one game, but that game against the Eagles really showed me that this team is just broken. This organization is broken. I thought they had the urgency that they had 2 years ago, that they had 3 years ago. I thought they'd have the urgency to, go out there and just get a win. I don't know how they're going to do it. I didn't care how. I just wanted to win. A statement game. Improved to 4-4. Last time they were 4-4, 2022. Went on a 10-game winning streak. I have no reason to believe that they're going to do that again. And just the way we looked in the second half, and the way that Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow, they're talking in the press, it just sounds like everything you want to hear. But I see no reason to believe there's going to be any change. So what am I supposed to go about this one? As a diehard Bengals fan, it's time to face the truth, guys. The coaching staff just sucks right now. Right now, they suck. I'm not saying fire Zach. I'm not saying fire Lou. I'm not. I'm just saying right now, there just seems like some sort of disconnect, and it's really, really not good. And it's not the right time to be having that. I mean, this is a division where the teams are just winning. The Steelers, winning. They're 6-2. The Ravens, 5-3. Yeah, they lost yesterday, but they're still 5-3. The Browns are only a game behind us, and they just lost their quarterback for the season, and they're finding a new spark. Our defense is playing atrocious. This game against the Raiders, obviously it's a rematch of the 2021 wildcard game. Everybody knows what happened then. A historic, night in Cincinnati. It just feels like the Bengals are finding more ways to disappoint. And even if they do win this game, you're going to have people rightfully so questioning Zach Taylor's leadership, questioning the players on the team, as they should. So, because the Raiders are a sloppy team and they're playing like one of the worst teams, although they were competitive last year, I can't say when in doubt I go home team just because the Bengals are 0-4 on the season. But I have to believe that they're going to do it, so I'm going to pick us. But I see no reason to believe that we're going to go out there and just handle business, because this team has had opportunity, chance after chance after chance, especially at home, to handle business against the Patriots, against the Commanders, against the Ravens. They had a chance to close it out. They choked. And then against the Eagles, they just completely fell on their faces. So they're finding new ways to disappoint me and the rest of, the Bengals fans out there. It's not going to be pretty. You're going to have fans, and even if we win this game, the coaching staff is not void of, blame. You're going to have people still questioning Zach Taylor's leadership, as they should. I mean, he's a phenomenal, players, coach, phenomenal, culture setter, but he needs to give up play calling. I'm at that point, but I'm picking the Bengals. They're at home here. They have to win this game. Otherwise, you could kiss the season goodbye. Give me the Bengals in this one. Not happy with this team right now, man. Anyway, we move to the Sunday night games. We got the Denver Broncos heading to Baltimore to play the Baltimore Ravens. So we look at the Broncos. They rode Bo Nix's breakout game. They got a 28-14 win over the Carolina Panthers. He became the first Denver QB to throw for 3 touchdowns and run for 1 without a single interception. So Baltimore's defense, they have their hands full, yes, and they've also been inconsistent. They excel at stopping the run, yes, but I think that, that's going to be, that's key against the Denver offense. Lamar should bounce back here. I mean, he had a rough outing yesterday. A motivated Lamar Jackson, an angry Lamar Jackson. That was just a shocking loss to the Cleveland Browns that the Baltimore Ravens had. It's divisional football, though, so I'm not going to harp too much on them for that. Division games, if you know anything about this division and just divisions in general, you just know that it's just, you can throw records out the window for the majority of the games. So I'm not only going to pick the Ravens to win, but I'll pick them to cover the spread here. I think that they are favored by, 3 or 4. I don't remember what it was, but I'm gonna roll with Baltimore here to just win by 10. I just feel like they are just starving, and I just don't see them losing back-to-back. They seem a lot. They'll probably be pissed off coming into this game, and that's one reason I'm going to pick Baltimore. Give me the Ravens. Next up, we got the Chicago Bears taking on the Arizona Cardinals in Glendale. So we look at the Cardinals, a gutsy 28-27 win over Miami. Kyler Murray, he led the second half comeback. The Bears suffered a really crushing 18-15 loss to the Washington Commanders. DeAndre Swift had a great game. Caleb Williams, he struggled in the key moments, but, the Bears, that tip up against Washington was just crazy. Yeah, I really don't know because Chicago here, they got a good defense. Yeah, they got a good, I guess they do have a good team overall, but it's just why would you tip it up to Noah Brown? I don't understand what they were doing there. If Kyler Murray can find a rhythm, I think that they can definitely have an edge here. Arizona's riding a little bit of momentum, streams lately after two, solid victories. I'm gonna say they keep it going. It's a when in doubt go home team. Cardinals are just playing a little better right now, I say. So I'm gonna go Arizona here, but it's gonna be a fun one. But give me Arizona over Chicago. Next up, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars heading to Philly to take on the Eagles. So the Eagles, they dismantled us. I already talked about that. Jalen Hurts, he threw 4 touchdowns. Their defense forced, just key turnovers. They shut down Cincinnati in the second half. The Jags, almost a staged comeback against the Packers, but they fell 30-27. Philadelphia, they're firing on all cylinders here. I don't think Jacksonville's going to have enough to keep up. I think the Eagles win comfortably here. I'm going to roll with Philly to get the win over Jacksonville in a pretty good game. Next up, we got the LA Rams taking on the Seattle Seahawks. So the Rams are coming off a really resilient win over the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings have just had some midseason chokes. Nothing is really new this season. And the Seahawks just got obliterated by the Bills 31-10. They're in free fall with pretty much just 4 losses in their last 5 games. I think that the Rams should exploit that Seattle defense. I'm going to say that LA actually goes into Seattle and gets a win here. I think they keep it going after that. They're riding high after that Vikings win. And I'm going to say they keep it going. So give me the Rams over the Seahawks in another divisional game that should be a good one. Next up, we got probably the best game of the week. We got the 6-1 Lions taking on the 6-2 Packers. Let's look at the Lions, man. So they're red hot. They scored 52 points on the Tennessee Titans. Jared Goff, he continues his MVP stellar campaign. Detroit's offense just looks great right now. And the Packers, they barely escaped the Jags. They got a 30-27 win. Malik Willis, he filled in for Jordan Love. I believe Jordan Love got hurt. But even with Jordan Love, guys, I think that Detroit's offense just is on a mission this year. And the Lions, yeah, they historically have not done well in Lambeau, but they did win 2 years ago. And I think that they don't have a reason to not keep it going here. I'm gonna roll with Detroit here to get I think it'll be a shootout type of game, but I think Detroit is just a slightly better team than Green Bay is right now in an NFC North tilt. I'm gonna pull the Lions to actually get the road win. I think that they're ready to prime their game to the next level and take out their biggest rival in their place. Give me the Lions over the Packers. Sunday Night Football. We got the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Let's look at the Vikings, man. They're rested. They're coming off their bye week to face a Colts team that just lost to the Texans. Anthony Richardson just did not look, he did not look well, and he subbed out of the game, obviously, because he was tired. So you're going to have Joe Flacco stepping in, so maybe he provides a spark like he did last time. Minnesota should just cover. Minnesota should control this one pretty, easily. But, I don't know. Joe Flacco did look good in one of the games this year. I'm gonna roll with Minnesota here. I think that they are just trying to get off that slump. They've lost 2 straight, 2 bad ones, I should say, because they're 5-0. Same reminiscent of 2016. Yeah, they were 5-0. Then they lost 5 straight. So I think that they win comfortably here. Was thinking about locking them up just because I don't see them losing 3 straight, but I'm gonna roll with Minnesota for this one. And lastly, guys, we got the Tampa Bay Bucs taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. So let's look at the Chiefs rather. They suffered a 27-20 loss to, they survived a tough 27-20 win over the Las Vegas Raiders. They completely leaned on their defense. Patrick Mahomes, he was sharp enough. Obviously, he has struggled this year, but the offense just continues to click. And then you look at the Bucs, man. They've lost 3 of the last 4. They're going to be out without, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans again. I think Kansas City's explosive offense. They're undefeated. They're at home here. I just think that gives them a clear edge here. And I think that I'm going to pick the Chiefs as my lock of the week. I just think that the Bucs are just unraveling. And I think it's just important for, KC to just keep it going. And, I'm going to roll with KC to get the win here over Tampa Bay. And that will do it. Thank you guys for tuning into my video. I'll have this out probably Wednesday. It should be a fun week, man. I hope that the Bengals obviously win. And, we'll just go from there. But you guys have a good one, man. You guys take care. Hoo day. And enjoy a good week of football.